Oh, I guess it is me. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Wine, Women, and Words. And with me, of course, is Michelle.
Hello.
And joining us, you've got the book, Michelle, so I don't, so you have to lift up the book. We have Gretchen Bonaduce with us to talk about her fantastic book, Surviving Agent Orange. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh my gosh, I'm so honored that you guys asked me. How fun. This is like such a great time, talking about my book, drinking some wine with you guys. It's like I feel like I'm at a restaurant with you, like I'm with my girlfriends and we're having some wine. I don't think you could ask for a better situation.
That's what we aim for here. As we've mentioned, we're very laid back. And I have to say, I kind of followed you. I remember when Danny was on the radio on 98.7.
Here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And I remember when you would call in and whatnot for the show. And I always thought you were so nice and so sweet. And I was like, that poor woman.
Yeah, I think that was the general consensus. I mean, especially when he went on the air and talked about his affair, like people were mad, but it's so funny because I was the same as all those people. I was duped too. And people were so upset because he would just go on the radio and talk about, I love my wife. I love my wife. She's so amazing. You probably remember that, And then, so I think people felt very betrayed when he went on and admitted what he had been up to. So, I was not that happy about that period of time. I have to say.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. Any, I think, sane, rational woman wouldn't be happy about that. And for those of you who are listening who might not be familiar with Danny and the name Bonaduce, Danny was in the Partridge Family.
That is correct.
Yes. Yeah. He was one of the younger kids, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, they had three it was David Cassidy, Susan Day, Danny, Suzanne Crowe, and Jeremy Gelwax, but they switched out the Jeremys. So there were two. Like they figured no one would notice from season 1 to season 2 that the character, the name and everything was the same, but it was a totally different kid. So there's two Jeremys.
Just like with Darren. Yeah.
Just like with what?
Yeah, just like with Darren on Bewitched. Nobody would know the difference between Darren 1 and 2. Yeah.
That was exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did it all the time back then. And because I actually remember the show because my grandmother used to make me watch the reruns with her.
Wow, she's mean.
She didn't have very good taste, I have to say. So this book, Surviving Agent Orange, I haven't read it yet. Michelle's reading it. She hasn't finished it yet. It's just, from what I've read about it and from what I've read of your interviews and from what Michelle's told me about the book, it's just, wow. I mean, it's one of those things where I have to wonder when you're going to apply for sainthood.
I did already. To go through.
Well, one thing immediately when you start reading it, one thing that really stood out to me is how casual the writing is. Like it doesn't feel like I'm reading an autobiography. And honestly, like autobiographies, they can be a little dry sometimes, Right. But this feels more like you're chatting with a girlfriend who's just like catching you up on
like conversational kind of, right?
It is. It's really, it's a very laid back tone. How was, what was your process when you decided that you wanted to tell your story? Was that always in the back of your mind that you wanted it to flow like that?
No, because, I'd never written a book. And when I would tell people stories about my life, they're like, wow, you should write a book. And so I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do that. And then I thought, well, I better get a ghostwriter because I don't know how to write a book. And then it turns out I'm really, really greedy. And I was like, oh, if I get a ghostwriter, I'm going to have to pay them half of my money. And I don't want to do that. So I decided I'm going to go to the zoo. Literally, I went to the zoo almost every day, sat by the orangutans, on the bench, have my glass of wine, and I would take my iPad, and I just was disciplined. I'm going to write a story, whatever the story. Like, I couldn't put it in an order because that would have totally screwed me up. Like, I didn't know how to do that. So I would just write a story after story, and then eventually I tried to put it in an order. And then when we edited it, they broke it all up and went from 1990 to 2005. But there was no way I could have done it had I tried to chronologically do it. So I didn't even try. Like, I just sat there. I'm like, oh, I remember when that thing happened. I'll tell that story. And, you know, it does sound conversational because I don't know how to do anything other than that. You know, I've never written a book. I don't know what the rules are. So I just kind of tried to write it and hoped people would relate. So.
Yeah, I think the story in and of itself, I mean, you're very relatable. And I think the story's relatable. And I mean, you were married to him for 17 years.
18. I'm counting every second. 18.
My mistake. Yes, 18. Yeah, we don't want to, you know, skip that. But it, you know, a couple things from that, just from that, have stood out to me. I mean, the first is, I think you should tell a story about how you met and got married. Was
kind of, yeah. Well, the lore is that we were married after 7 hours or 8 hours. I think that was a headline on Star Magazine. It said, Danny Bonaduce marries blonde after 8-hour courtship. And it wasn't 8 hours, but it was, you know, probably 48 hours. We had just met. I had booked a psychic on his radio show and asked me if I wanted to get married, and I didn't have anything better to do. I was like, yeah, that sounds good. Like, what else? I don't have anything else planned, so let's give it a shot. But then we were married 18 years. So, you know, when people ask me, I'm like, I'm never going to make that sound sane. I'm not even going to try. You know, it was just one of those Britney Spears moments where it was like, hey, I'm not doing anything. My life's kind of screwed up and you're not doing anything. Would you like to maybe get married? I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that. So
yeah, I've got nothing in my calendar. It's a Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday. You know, we have nothing else better to do. Let's just do it.
You know, I could pick up my dry cleaning tomorrow. It's all good.
Dry cleaning tomorrow, get married to a guy you don't know. And we literally called a minister out of the Yellow Pages. And so he came to Danny's house to marry us. He didn't know we didn't know each other. And of course, we didn't tell him. And we didn't have enough money to pay him. So we had to give him, like, the last of it was in $7 worth of quarters. We had to pay him.
Oh my gosh.
So, like, we had a few rolls of quarters we had to give him. But yeah, you know, it was just an absurd situation. I would never tell anyone to do that. It's not sane. Like, I would never try to go, oh, this made sense to do. It didn't. But neither of us had anything going on. I was going to be a waitress. Maybe, as I say in the book, a singing waitress if I was lucky, but most likely just a waitress. He would be dead or in jail. And if you look at any interview he did while we were married, he says that. You know, now he doesn't. Now I'm a gold digger and I'm riding his coattails. But really, the truth is, he probably would be dead or in jail. I would be a waitress, maybe. So it just worked out that way. And I'm so blessed that it did. I mean, I have 2 amazing children and an amazing story to tell. We traveled all over the world. We had so many great things. And that's what I tried to do in the book. I really tried to be fair. I tried to say a lot of great things. And then when I was saying bad things, I essentially was kind of telling a story. Like, I wasn't trying to be mean to him. When people go, oh, are you writing a tell-all? I'm like, no, that just sounds mean. And your intentions are mean. Like, let me write a mean thing to make you look bad. I just wanted to represent myself. That was it.
Absolutely. And yeah, I follow you on Instagram, and I love following your Instagram adventures because you're always doing something fun and exciting and singing with a cover band, and it's just, you're living the best life. Yeah.
I love it. Like, I can't even, my life is so much better than I ever thought it would be. You know, even if you add in all the terrible things, because, you know, a lot of terrible things happen. If you read the book, there was a lot of terrible things, but I still look at it as I won. I'm sitting here in Hollywood. I live the life that everybody would love to lead. And now I can't wait to leave. I just listed my house. I was waiting for my son to graduate, and so I could go because I'm done. But I'm so happy I did it the way everyone would want to. Been to the Emmys, I've been to the Grammys, so many red carpets. So I've been really lucky that I did it the way anybody would want to do.
Mm-hmm. And that's absolutely, wonderful. And I think that, it's a story that's worth any people reading, married people reading in general. Because I know one thing that you've talked about is and it's a very much a religious based mentality, and going back to your background where,
Totally.
you just don't get divorced no matter what. And it's up to the wife to keep that relationship going and to make things happy. And I'm assuming you get into that in the book, correct?
Oh, yeah. I think one of the main things in my book is that sometimes religion can victimize you a little bit because you're so conditioned to forgive, turn the other cheek. And so you put up with a lot more than you should because you're a good person, and you're always trying to forgive people. And then you have children, and then you try to keep it together for the family. Like so many people can relate to what I've been through. And honestly, I wouldn't want to be any other way. Like, I do think it's so weird the way it works out with timing that my book's coming out now. Because with #MeToo, like, who's going to come after me and complain? You can't tell your story. Like, no one who has any brain would ever say that to me, because you do get his fans that are like, we hate you, you're terrible, and nobody cares about you, and you're riding on his coattails. And I'm like, oh, really? Really? How many people who nobody have ever heard of have written books, and they're great books? Like, it's weird to me that people want to equate, well, you were married to someone famous, but you weren't famous, so you're not entitled to tell your story. Isn't that weird?
That's awful, because I think everybody's entitled to tell their story. And I think going back to listening to the radio show, I'm sorry, but if you were a fan of Danny's, you can't complain too much about this book, because he already pretty much put a lot of it out there. And talking about putting a lot of it out there, there was the reality show, which was behind the scenes at dark time. And I want to get your take on reality shows, because I know you're like, don't do them ever, but your take on that. And
no, I don't say that at all. But what I do say is, I don't think if you have small children, it's probably not a good idea. Like, it damaged my daughter. It really did. Because when we did our show in 2005, 2006, the boards were just coming out. Like, I didn't really even know about them. So that wasn't something that I factored in, that my child could get online and read the terrible things people were saying about me. So I would caution anyone, like, who's going on the Housewives show, any show that is kind of going to have a negative slant where they're trying to cause a lot of controversy and problems, your kids are going to read that. And, when we did, first of all, the pilot that we shot for our show was called Rock and Roll Dinner Party. The show that ended up being on was not the show that it was supposed to be. We wouldn't have been brave enough to do that had we known it was going to go in that direction. And I wouldn't have put my kids on there had I known that was the show. Like, it was the realest reality show that's ever been on. I will guarantee you. Like, there was no, oh, Danny, remember when you said that and I said that? Okay, let's recreate that conversation. I was not having that. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it honestly. And that's what we're going to do. So we're not going to talk about these things so we're talking about them, because I just wanted it to be genuine, and I really wanted it to help people. And I know all the producers were laughing at me going, oh, you're so cute. And, oh, look, you're so sweet. You want your reality show to help people. I go, no, I do. Like, I want people to see, here's what happens when you have affairs. Here's what happens when you're dealing with addiction, and that was important to me to do that. And I think we totally did that. And by accident, we didn't plan that at all. That was not the show that was supposed to be on. And I kind of give Danny a lot of credit that he allowed it because he looked bad, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Michele.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to ask, compared, you're doing a reality show, obviously there's zero privacy and zero, boundaries as far as, control over what they'll ultimately put out. Like you said, you had no idea that the show they were doing was not what you originally intended. Was it different? Was it a different kind of exposure or vulnerability when you were telling your own story in the book? Was it a different kind of exposure?
You know what? Even with the TV show, how it ended up going, because like, as I said, that was not the show we intended on doing, but then that was the way it ended up going, where it was really catching the implosion of our marriage. And as it was happening, like I would never have done it. Neither would Danny had we known this was the way it was going to go. And I'm just so proud of it. Like, I don't regret it. I think that we helped people. I know we did. I got so much mail from people saying, oh my God, I was in the exact same situation. And thank you that you were brave enough to talk about it. And as far as my book, even with the TV show, I do think there were more fights than we probably would have had, but because I had the protection of a camera crew, I wouldn't let things go that I might have in real life. Like when he was doing things that were really pissing me off and I just didn't want to have to fight about it, I might have let it go. But when I had the TV crew there, I kind of felt safe to confront him about things. So we probably had more fights than we would have had. But again, I don't regret that. There were things that I wanted to say. But, had they not been there, I would have probably let it go because I'm like, oh, I don't want this fight, Yeah,
and I'm one of those people who believes that fights are healthy. And they can be healthy. Let me phrase it that way. They can be healthy when you're communicating with the other person, not name calling and not getting physically and verbally violent with the other person. Because I'll be honest, my husband and I have been married. We just celebrated 14 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we bicker all the time. Michele can attest to that. We're just constantly, if we're upset about something, if something's getting on our nerves, we're not afraid to be like, hey, this is bothering me. Neither of us let things just simmer and go.
Well, I think then you're with a lucid human being and I was with a very volatile one, so that's the difference. Like you have to sometimes walk on eggshells. And when we were on the TV show, I didn't walk on eggshells. I smashed those eggshells. I was like, no, like I'm not going to let this go.
Yeah, as you said, you had the protection of the camera there to help you. And I was going to ask if you felt that it helped to bring things to a head faster than they would have if they weren't there?
I don't know. I don't know about that. But when people say to me, do you think being on a reality show ruined your marriage? I'm like, no, that was happening in my marriage, whether the camera was running or not, So I never felt like doing the TV show brought things down. I definitely think we probably had more fights, but that was because I had the protection to say what I wanted, and I did, and yeah. So, but I think our marriage was what it was, and I am just as I said, when you're raised in a religious upbringing and you're so conditioned to forgive, turn the other cheek. I was putting up with a lot of things I should not have. But I still don't regret it. Like I would rather give someone way more chances than not enough. Like I just would, I want to live in a world where I want to forgive someone and help them get better. And that's kind of where I was coming from, that, and then you're always weighing, when you're a mother, do I want to make my children a product of divorce, or like it was just constantly, what's the best thing for this family for me to do? When I finally got to the point, the best thing for this family for me to do is to go. And that's what I did. So I was watching Dr. Phil one day and he said, children would rather be from a bad situation than in one. I was like, oh my God, I'm keeping my children in a bad situation. Yeah, and that was the thing. That was like the aha moment. I hate to say that. It's like so Oprah, but it really was like where I was like, okay, I can't keep my kids in this. This is not, it's not good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm an adult. I can choose to deal with these things and deal with it, but I can't, have my kids. No way. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Now, can you share with us what one of your favorite stories is in the book? Do you have a favorite story that you want to share?
You know what? My favorite story, and it's funny because I thought more people would talk about it and they're not, but my favorite story is when I peed on the pie. That's definitely my favorite story. That was like, I will not for you. I will stop you from eating that pie no matter what happens. I will pee on this pie, and that is what I did. So that's kind of my favorite story.
I almost spit out my wine when you first said that. Because that just takes that to a whole new level. I mean,
like that is commitment.
That
is on a diet, and you're doing everything you can to stop them. And an ashtray dumping it on, they could probably pick it off. Like I'm like, what's the thing I could do to make sure that he is not going to eat this pie? So I threw it on the ground, sat on it, and peed on it. And so that's my favorite.
That is epic.
I thought so, but
love it.
No one has ever even asked me about the pie story. So I thought it would get more traction, but no one cares about the pie story.
I care about the pie story. I love the pie story.
Can I tell you what kind of pie it was? Because I think it's important to you now that you know what kind of pie I peed on.
That is very important to me now.
It was an apple pie. And then
I was thinking it was going to be an apple pie because everything that's dirty happens with an apple pie.
Totally. And you know what? It became like a saying with our friends whenever we were talking to them. They're like, you know what? I'm so broke, I don't even have a pie to pee on. And so that was how we all would relate to how broke you were. That if you didn't have a pie to pee on, you were really broke.
I love that. And I think I'm going to be using that. Though I don't think I'm going to pee on any pies.
You know what? I just challenge you. After this interview tonight, I would like you to go buy a pie and go, honey, would you like some pie? And he's going to go, I'm trying to be on a diet, honey. And you're going to go, oh, okay, I'll take care of that. I want you to throw it on the ground, sit on it, and pee on it. And go, here's how far I will go for you.
Challenge accepted. And my husband is probably listening to this going, oh, my God. I did that, or he works nights, so I'm going to wake up in the morning and there's going to be a pie sitting on the counter.
Oh, with enough going, I hear you. Tomorrow. I want a picture of that pie.
It'll happen.
Yeah, there's so many good stories. I mean, the story about when I had the stalker who was running around town telling everybody she was me, and she was like total Sasquatch. And I'm like, I can hear everyone going, oh my God, have you seen Gretchen Bonaduce since her and Danny divorced? She's gone really downhill. It's really sad. I'm like, thank you. Can I please have an in-shape stalker telling the world she's me?
Right? I'm sorry, but if you're going to do that, you got to make sure that you look like a Brazilian model.
I need my stalker who's saying she's me. You got to like up your game. You know, I'm average looking, but you know, okay, just push it over a little further so you look good.
Especially after the divorce. I mean, if you got to time it.
Yes. Yeah, no, when that happened, even Danny, who's like not a super fan of mine, was like, there is the stalker who's on Twitter saying she's you, and Ziggy Ramirez and Manson, and like she was kind of nutty, and he doesn't even like me, you know, to like warn me. There's someone coming who hates your guts.
Yeah, I mean, if they end up putting your ex-husband in your corner, you know there's a problem with them. But you know what? We completely forgot to go do our round robin of what everybody's drinking.
I was thinking of that a couple minutes ago. I was like, oh, wait.
Yeah, I completely
is that what we're doing? We got to talk about what we're drinking.
Yes, we always have to do that during the show. What are you drinking, Gretchen?
Well, girls, I have been very fortunate just in the last 48 hours that a very nice girl sent a case of Ironstone wine to me and one of my best friends, Cherie Curry, who was the lead singer of the Runaways. I am keeping the wine at my house, which was probably a bad idea because now I'm 3 bottles in and she's not making. But here's what I'm drinking. It's rather delicious. This is the Petite Syrah, and thank you, Heather Hollers, for sending me a case of wine.
Love it. Michele, why don't you send me cases of wine?
I know. Well, you got to befriend my friend. Go on my Facebook, find Heather Hollers. Go. We just did a podcast. She was talking about your wine, and we need some too.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that right
Los Angeles.
I think she'll do it. No, she doesn't live here. I think she was in Idaho, and a sweetheart. And yeah, so I'm like the 3rd bottle in. I have a whole case. I'm supposed to give half to someone else. So I'm trying to like ration my half. I'm doing a really bad job.
Understandable. How about you, Michele?
I'm still working on my my like hidden bonus bottle that I found of the Winks Ultramont.
Oh,
It's a red blend, and this is like my last. I think I can squeeze like another glass out of it.
I think
because I can actually squeeze wine out of bottles.
Me too.
It's a superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, I am out of my Wink wine, but I am drinking a Dark Horse Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, totally fancy.
All right. I have to ask you guys, in my acknowledgments, I did thank Two Buck Chuck. I like Two Buck Chuck. What do you guys think? In or out on that?
In on Two Buck Chuck.
Me
Definitely
too.
in.
You're in, yeah. I mean, I feel like I love red wine. Like I don't even drink white that much. I mean, as I said, I don't drink hard alcohol. I don't drink beer. And did I say beer? I said beer. But I feel like if you drink the amounts of wine that I do, it's probably better to drink a $3 wine versus a $50 wine, right?
It can be an expensive habit.
You remember Michele and I used to work together in an office, and that's how our friendship developed, because we did nothing. We totally slacked off and just read books and traded books back and forth. But wow. I remember it was at a call center too, no less. And I remember there was this one girl working with us. Do you remember, Michele? She was complaining about Two Buck Chuck.
Oh, yes, I do remember.
She was complaining about Two Buck Chuck. How do you complain about a $3 wine? That's pretty decent. You know, they find taste tests all the time, and it wins. Mm-hmm. And it wins. You know, people want to be snooty. I just ordered like 500 labels with my book cover on it, so I can put them on the wine. And so I
love it.
And I'm going to cover it. Yeah, I have some. I could go grab it and show you now. They're like so cool. They're my book cover.
I love that. Eventually, we're going to do that with Wine, Women, and Words.
It's
one day. Yes, we will do that.
I think I paid $39 for 250 labels. So you guys could do that. Go to Two Buck Chuck, buy, a couple cases, put it on there, go to your local, wherever to try to get sponsorship. I don't know. Are you sponsored, or is this just like your own?
We are. That leads me to our sponsorship, because we don't have friends who send us cases of wine, but we do get our sponsorship through Wink, an online wine club. Yeah, they are awesome. Yeah, so instead we have them ship us bottles of wine, and their bottles aren't that expensive, really. When it comes down to it, they go about like $12, $13.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, not at all, and it's tailored to what you like. So as you rate, it gets really specific, and there's no cost for membership. You can skip months if you need to.
So it's like Blue Apron or one of those.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, except it's better because it's got wine.
That's always better. Like, who needs to eat? We don't need to eat. We just need some wine.
I do snacks and wine.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm just like so thrilled. I don't know if you guys know, but the first day my book was out, it sold out on Amazon. They restocked and then it sold out again. So I'm just, I didn't know. Like I had no idea. A lot of my friends have hundreds of thousands of followers. I don't have that, you know? So when people would ask me, how do you think it's gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. Like I have like maybe combined 12,000, 13,000 people on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So I'm like, I just have no idea. So it's been kind of cool for me that it's selling out. People are always texting me going, oh, I just went to Barnes and Noble and it's sold out. And so it's been kind of cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those books that really you hit at the right time with the book. I mean, and it's a relatable story. It's a relatable book, and it's a really good time for the book. And it's, a really good, your life story is a good story. Not to try to diminish that.
I was hoping people would think that. Because you don't know, I mean, people may go, we hate you. Nobody cares about you and shut the F up. But
I feel like people come out, there's so many people that come out with memoirs, and there's so many people who come out with memoirs when they haven't even reached 30 yet. But I think like you are a person who should be writing a memoir, who should be putting that out there, and especially with that kick-ass cover. I love that cover.
Oh my God, isn't that cool?
Yeah, Michele, hold up the cover again.
Well, we shot several different ideas because I wanted to do like a parody. So we did the Cyndi Lauper cover from Girls Just Want to Have Fun. We did Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, which was that one. We did, oh my gosh, was the one with the creature from the Black Lagoon. So we got like several ideas. And then we ended up liking that one the best. And then we decided to do it like the Aha video from Take On Me, where it was part picture, part animation. So I was so happy with the cover, because I thought lots of people don't care about me, but maybe they'll walk up and look at the cover and go, oh, this looks like a cool book. So I was hoping to trick people into maybe reading it because the cover was so cool.
Yeah, cover art. We are big fans of cover art here. I mean, you got to have a good cover for the book. It's, even though the saying is you can't judge a book by its cover.
You totally can. Yeah, that was kind of one of the actual titles I was thinking about was judge the book by its cover, because I was trying to make a great cover and people to go, oh, I don't know this person. I don't think I'm interested, but this is a great cover. Maybe I'll see what's inside.
Well, I love the title too. I mean, we're talking about cover art, but the title, I mean, you nailed that also. So what was there a long process for figuring out?
Okay, here's the story behind the title. Danny and I, we did Gretchen Bonaduce on VH1. And that was like 2005, 2006. We go, you know what? We can't do a third season because if we do, we're going to get divorced. Like it's just every time the camera's on, he just went so nutty. So we offered another idea. And the idea was, I Know My Kid's the Next Child Star. That was the next show that we sold to VH1. And one of the ideas that we threw out for the title was Surviving Agent Orange. And so my assistant and I thought it was so funny that it became our code name for Danny. So it's like POTUS. So whenever he was doing whatever, she would text me, Agent Orange is driving up the driveway. And then, whatever, I'd text her, Agent Orange is at his meeting at William Morris. So that is what that means, that title, which I was kind of worried that vets would be offended by it, like Surviving Agent Orange. That's kind of mean, but it's not. Like it was totally a title we threw out for a TV show. And then, throwing someone under the bus, that's just a thing everyone says, like, oh my God, I went to this meeting, they totally threw me under the bus. So I thought when you put the words Partridge Family in front of the bus, it made it really funny. And that was my intention in the book, was to be a funny book. So I wanted the title to be funny. Like I didn't want anyone to, think, like I said, when people are like, are you writing a tell-all book? I'm like, no, that just sounds mean. I didn't want people to think that. So I was hoping if they saw the title, they would go, oh my God, that's a funny title. This must be a funny book. Because that's what I was aiming for. You know, I really was not trying to write a mean thing. And even the mean stories I tell, so many of the names are changed in the book because,
Mhm.
you know, I had to go through legal and they were like, is this person identifiable? If they are, you should change it. And I was fine with that. Like, I just wanted to tell the story. The name didn't matter to me. You know, like I didn't, like when I called the girl that Danny had an affair with 9021 Ho, you know, I just wanted to tell the story. I didn't really want to tell her name because why would I want to give her any extra press? You know,
Mhm.
so it wasn't about settling the score with people. It was about telling my story. I didn't care if I used their names or not.
Mhm.
You know, I
Well,
did.
even the things, I mean, the one of the stories early on was when you took your dog for a walk and came back and found the police trying to knock
Oh,
down
yeah,
your
that was
door looking for.
my favorite story in the world.
But I mean, even that story, you don't tell it in a mean way. I mean, there are
Yeah.
so many ways that you could tell that story
Yeah.
in a mean way, and people would be like, "Well, yeah, obviously."
Yeah, yeah.
You
No,
know?
I really tried to be fair. I tried to say nice things because there were. You know, you can't be married to a guy for 18 years and not have great stories. The thing with Danny and I, it was either really, really great or really, really terrible. There was no in between, you know? And so I tried to say that in the book. These great things happen and then these terrible things happen. So I just was trying to be fair. I mean, some people are like, I thought you were way too nice to him in the book. And some people are like, I thought it was a love letter to Danny. I'm like, oh no, that's no.
That's a love letter, maybe, but
No,
um,
I was trying to be fair. Like, you know, he had a lot of good qualities. And I didn't want to be, you know, a jerk and just try to say, he did this to me and he did that to me and it was terrible. Because that wasn't the way it was. You know, he did a lot of nice things for me and our children. And yeah.
and that's something I think, you know, I speaking as a kid from coming from a divorce situation, my parents have been divorced for as long as I can remember. Um, I think as a kid, you know, as a child, as a you know, as the kids get older, we want to know the truth of the marriage. We want to know because I remember I asked my parents, I pelted my parents with questions,
Yeah.
and I would have them, you know, when we were one on one, it was, well, why, what happened, what was the story with this, or why did this happen, to the point where my mother basically handed me the divorce proceeding papers and was like, here, go ahead and read.
Yeah.
And so
I tried to do that as well. Like when my children were younger, when I took, because I've taken both my kids to therapists because they needed it. You know, what they'd been through was traumatizing for them. And the therapist said to me, I know this isn't going to make you feel better, but they always turn on the safe parents. And that was true. You know, I was taking a lot of shit from my kids because it's hard, you know, when your parents are divorcing. But I still knew it was the right thing to do. But I did like get a lot of the frustration from both of them. Mostly my daughter because she was older. My son, he was 7, 8. Didn't really bother him that much, honestly. But it did my daughter. She had a hard time with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's a very, you know, kids go through that. I think you were older when your parents divorced, right, Michele?
Yeah, and I mean, my situation was different. My
Yes.
parents lived in they still lived in Europe at the time, so and I was in America with my aunt and uncle. So their whole divorce happened without me there. So I missed all of it.
Yeah.
So and I was 16. So and at that point I was like, it's probably a good idea if you guys do this. It's probably best for everyone involved.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's weird. Because when my parents got divorced, they my I was like 5, you know, so I don't really remember any of that being bad, you know, because they kept it from us. And My son was probably 7. My daughter was probably 12 or 13. Affected her a lot. Didn't really affect my son. But yeah, it's just weird the time frame when it happens, I think, that age. And but yeah, I don't think it didn't affect me. I don't even really remember, a lot of animosity between my parents when I was 5. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was 3 when my parents divorced, so I don't remember any animosity pre-divorce. So, and it's one of those things with the kids too, where it's like, you're not, especially in this interview, you're not the, okay, I'm out here to get him kind of vibe. I don't get that vibe from you at all. And it reminds me of something. Yeah. My mom had said something to me where I'd asked her, do you hate my dad? It was a teenage question, a young kid question. And I remember her response very vividly going, well, no, because you're part of him. And if I were to hate him, I'd have to hate you too.
Yeah. No, and I was the same. Like, I tried really hard when they were younger to say very little because it wasn't appropriate at that time. Now, when they ask me things, I tell them the truth. Like back when they were little, I didn't go, yeah, your dad cheated on me every chance he got, because they weren't prepared to deal with something like that. But, they got older and asked me questions that I felt that they were prepared to deal with, then I would, be honest about it. But I do think as a parent, that's the thing you have to do. Like when the therapist said, they turn on you because you're the safe parent. You just have to take it. And I did. But then when they were older and I didn't have to do that, then I would, when they would ask me questions, I would answer, and, for me, if you are a human being and you're doing something that you perceive is bad to tell people, that's on you. Maybe you shouldn't have done it. Like, I don't feel bad telling what happened because that's what happened. And if you're embarrassed about it, well, that's on you. Maybe you shouldn't have done it. That's just the way I feel. I don't know.
And I think that's a very good way to live. Very good idea. And I think we're at 45 minutes now.
A little bit.
Bored of me now, or you're like, God, please dump this bitch. We can't take another one.
No, not at all.
No.
I love listening to.
Yeah, probably so many people feel that way. So I would be, understanding if you're like, please go away now.
No, not at all. I mean, I could keep talking about this all night and drinking more wine all night and quoting Team America World Police.
Yes, I love it. That movie just makes me laugh. It's just so funny.
I have a love for B movies. B movies, Team America World Police, Killer Clowns from Outer Space is one of my favorites.
I have not seen that. What about Walk Hard? Hilarious.
I don't think I've seen Walk Hard. I think
that's the one with
John C. Reilly.
Thank you. Yes.
Yep.
That was hysterical.
Oh my God, beyond hilarious. I mean, Team America is probably one of my favorites. It's just, there's just too many funny things. It's just funny.
Have you seen that? Is it even out yet? That new movie that's like the murder mystery, but it's with like puppets.
Yes.
Oh, with
the murders.
Michelle McCarthy, is that her name?
Melissa
McCarthy. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I haven't seen it, but it looks absurd. Yeah,
it is absurd. I saw it. We went to the drive-in to go see it, and we were laughing hysterically when there were people there with their children. Yeah. Huh?
It's funny?
It is hilarious. It is. If you like Team America World Police, you will enjoy this.
Oh, okay, good. Good to know.
It is absurd and disgusting and just everything my husband and I hoped it would be. It is the Muppets for adults.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm a child of Saturday Night Live and Spinal Tap. Anything that's absurd, I love. Team America, literally, I do think is one of the funniest movies ever made. It was so, so funny. And Walk Hard, you got to see it. You will be like,
I'll have to see that because, confession time, Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Pretty funny. I think that's pretty funny. Little tiny baby Jesus, 6 pound, 3 ounce baby Jesus or whatever.
I like to picture Jesus in a tuxedo shirt, all snazzy, party in the front, or business in the front, party in the back. that I don't know why I put that on and I just giggle through the whole movie. I don't even watch NASCAR. I watch IndyCar. I got into IndyCar because I've got a friend who works for Formula Drift. But I'm like, I'm not a NASCAR person. There's nothing about that movie that screams Diana, but I will sit down and I will watch it and I can quote it verbatim.
Yeah, it's a funny movie. I do like it. But I would still put Team America and then Walk Hard and then The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, but, I mean, we've got to put, and so I'll watch Walk Hard if you watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
All right, I will. It sounds horrifying, but for you, I'm going to do it.
You will find it hilarious. You know, when I was a kid, I was a latchkey kid, and I wasn't supposed to watch TV when I got home from school. And so, of course, I did. And for every day for a week, HBO had Killer Clowns from Outer Space on television. And I watched it every day while I was doing my homework, and it was hilarious. And they're these big cartoonish clowns, and to kill them, you have to pop their noses.
Wow, I got to see that. That sounds absurd. I mean, look at Step Brothers. That was such a funny movie, right?
Yes, love Step Brothers.
Yeah, John C. Reilly. Now, when you watch Walk Hard, you're going to call me and you're going to go, thank you. Oh my God, thank you. That is so, so funny. It is absurd and so funny. It's like a cross between Johnny Cash and Brian Wilson. Like, it takes like skills. Yeah. It's very.
I know which one. I know exactly. I have seen that. It's been a while since I've seen it, and I'm going to have to sit down and I will watch it this weekend and see it. And then thank you for making me watch it again this weekend.
It. I promise you will love it. And you've seen Spinal Tap, right?
Yes, it's been a very long time.
Yeah, this one goes to 11. Well, why not just make it go to 10 and make it a little louder? Because this one goes to 11. That's a good movie too.
Oh, I love movies. The more absurd, the better. Like, Dude, Where's My Car?
I have not seen that.
Euro Trip, Diana.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. Euro Trip, is it a good one or no?
Oh, yes. Our song, mine and Michelle's song, comes from Euro Trip. Scotty Doesn't Know.
Oh, who sings that? I've never even heard of that song.
But the basic chorus is Scotty doesn't know that Fiona and me do it in my van every Sunday. She tells him she's at church, but really she's on her knees.
Yikes.
It's all about the guy telling Scotty that his girlfriend is cheating on him.
Yes, it's a story about these high school kids who go on a European vacation and everything that can go wrong does go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically
who's in the
American.
cast?
Who isn't? It
was
the girl from Smallville. She was Fiona.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen Crook or something, right?
Yeah. I think so. It's been a while since I've looked them up.
I don't know. I know Matt Damon was in it as the singer of the band, but he didn't. I don't think he actually sang.
All right. Speaking of that, how funny is The Wedding Singer? That's a pretty funny movie, right?
We were just talking about that this morning.
Yes. Yeah, with Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I still love Adam Sandler movies.
I do too. I'm with you.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even though a lot of them, like, what's the one with 50 First Dates?
Yes.
How charming is that movie?
Love
it. Yeah.
It is. And then he just did the one about his daughter getting married. Was it Father of the Bride? Not Father of the Bride. It's a Netflix.
Oh, I
haven't seen that one.
Good.
Oh, well, yeah. My sister's getting married next month, and
so is my daughter. My daughter. Yeah, my daughter's getting married in October to a professor from Manchester, England.
Ooh.
Oh, English accent. Was that good?
Yes. Better than I could do. When is she getting married? Can I ask?
October 27th.
Okay.
Yep, in New Jersey, because they wanted to make it fair where the people from England had to come and the people from LA had to come. So yeah, she's getting married, and my little boy, who's now 17, he is in boarding school. He got into like one of the top performing arts. Oh, I'm burping. Sorry. He got into one of the top performing art schools boarding schools in the country. And so I'm by myself. Like, he's there and my daughter's getting married. I'm here by myself. Isn't that weird? Which is nice that I have all this wine. That's
yes, you have wine. And I mean, I don't think that you're getting, bored. Like I said, I follow you on Instagram. So you're off singing, you're off doing all sorts of fun stuff.
Fun. Oh my God, my life's amazing. Way better than I ever thought it was going to be. I can never complain. If God takes me out tomorrow and you guys will have this tape that you can take to TMZ and everyone, I would be like, I got so lucky. I can't complain. Like, I've had the best life, like way beyond that I deserve or that I ever thought I was going to have. Like, how awesome that you can look at your life and go, wow, how did that happen to me? Like, I've met amazing people and I've traveled the world and I have 2 amazing children and I can rescue animals because I have the income to take care of them. And, I'm so lucky. Like, I could not complain about anything ever. Transvestites that my husband picked up, cheating on me left and right. Like, I still ended up winning because I have a great life. That's the way I look at it. I know you guys are going, oh, that doesn't sound good.
No, that's wonderful. No, I love it because that's the best way to look at it. Because I mean, the sum of what we've gone through. I mean, I've gone through crazy. Michele knows a lot of my backstory and everything, and the stuff that I've gone through. Like, I moved to California at 17 with nothing but a suitcase and a guitar on my back. Moved in with my dad, and I came from a very, very strict religious background.
Me too. Yep.
Yeah, something that we can relate on. And and just going through all sorts of stuff. And
what religion?
Religion.
Yeah, no, what religion? I'm just curious.
Sorry. What religion?
I was Southern Baptist, so what religion did you grow up in? Catholic, Jewish?
Pentecostal.
Wow.
Yeah, we're talking the world. For those of you who are not familiar with Pentecostal, we're talking the world of Mike Pence. That is the world I grew up in. When I was in high school, I was not allowed. I wanted to practice yoga and do yoga. I was not allowed to do that because that was devil worship. I wanted to be a vegetarian, which I am officially again now. But I wasn't allowed to do that because, again, devil worship. It was a whole big thing.
Vegetarianism is devil worship. That's a weird one. I get yoga. Like, when I was married to Danny, at one point I was like, you know what? It would be a really good idea if you came up with Christian yoga. Because, a lot of Christian people are like, oh, this is too weird for me. It's too, religious. And
the meditation part, that poorly because, so
I was thinking, how can we make this more Christian and do it? Like, I think that would be a popular thing if you opened up all these yoga places that were now Christian and not Eastern religion. But I didn't. I was dumb. I probably should have copyrighted that, and also the word 90210. I probably should have copyrighted that.
Well, I think you might still have time to copyright 90210.
I'm doing it now as soon as I'm off the phone.
Yeah, do it right now. Just get on Google. Do it right now. You can totally do it.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make
we won't steal that.
Say 90210, and everyone in the city will think it's funny, even though to me it's an insult. But dumb people in LA will go, "Oh, that's cool. I will wear that shirt."
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, we a lot of us look at stuff like that in a hilarious way, but in also a.
It's condescending. It's like ironic. Yeah, it's not.
The hipster way of looking at things.
It's not something you'd wear on a T-shirt, but there would be T-shirts made.
I might wear that on a T-shirt.
Would wear it. I really think I could get a Kardashian to wear it. I totally.
Dude, you get a Kardashian to wear it.
I feel like I could.
Oh no.
Oh, you're out of wine?
I'm out of wine and I have a sleeping 2-year-old on my lap.
Well, that's not good. Where's your husband? Tell him to bring you some more wine. Get his ass up and say, you are lazy. I have children sleeping on me and we're doing the show. Go get me some more wine.
Yeah, wine ballet. Come on now.
Right. If he didn't have to be up at the crack of dawn tomorrow, I definitely would. But
Lazy guy has to be a bit crack as well. No, I get it.
I blame the Navy for that because they don't take into consideration my podcast schedule when they make his work schedule.
How dare they? I'm
So
gonna
rude.
write them. I'm gonna write them and say, how dare you? This is so important. Like, we don't care about what you're doing with the Navy right now. We need you to bring more wine.
Mm-hmm. See, I just, my husband's, you know, if I buy wine, we buy liquor. I drink mostly wine, but we are into the whole tiki subculture in LA. We love the tiki bars, and I will drink.
I wish I could. I know there's the one on Hillhurst or Virgil, that tiki bar in LA. You have to. It's called the Tiki Bar. And then there's the one in the Valley that's also called the Tiki Bar or Tiki something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of tiki here.
Yeah, we do the one in North Hollywood, the Tonga Hut. That's one we like to go to.
Yeah. That one. Yep. That's like on what is that, Lancashire?
I don't even know. I just put in Tonga Hut on the Uber because there's no way I can drive back from there.
You can't drive back from there. It would be such a mistake. It's such a good call.
I like going to the Pacific Seas in Clifton's.
Oh,
I love Clifton's.
Me too. Yep. And on Fridays and Saturdays when they have all the swing people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, it is. I was so bummed the restaurant. I don't know if they put the restaurants back up yet.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
It is okay because we were there in June. We had a friend come in from New Zealand, and he was like, I want to go out. I want to experience LA. So we took him there for Clifton's. I was thinking, okay, go to Clifton's, check out Clifton's, hang out Pacific Seas, get some dinner. And the bar or the restaurant was closed.
Oh, no, I think it's totally, I mean, I was there, I'm sure in the last couple months because I love it. Like on Sunday, they do the jazz brunch.
Yes.
I've been there in the last 4 or 5 months and it was open. So yeah, that's a cool place. I love it. Yeah.
I did. Well, we ended up finding the New Orleans style cafe in downtown.
Oh, Little Easy. I love that place. Oh yeah. I go there all the time. Yep. I can't believe I haven't seen you there.
I know.
They have the all-you-can-eat brunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So from like, I don't know, 11 to 2, all you can eat, Cajun, amazing food. The food's good.
Yes, absolutely good. It was, we actually made that our anniversary day trip was a Little Easy for brunch and then go across the street to the Last Bookstore.
Oh yeah. My publishers are in that building.
Okay.
Yep, Rare Bird is in the same building as the Last Bookstore.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
How convenient.
I love them. Oh my God, my publishers are amazing because I've been trying to get this book published for years. I don't think people understand how hard it is at all to get your book published.
I understand completely. I'm trying to get my book.
Had a lit agent out of New York City. That cost me a year because they took me on and then they went to everyone and it took a year for them to get back, which was all no's, or basically I got 1 or 2 yeses, but they were kind of crappy. I'm like, no. But yeah, it was mostly no. So I can't wait because my book's doing so well to post that and go, ha ha, no, Simon Schuster, oh, fuck you. I guess you made a mistake, didn't you?
Oh, I can't wait to be able to say that one day too. Because I'm in the middle of that agent like soul crushing picture book.
You know what? Go to my people, Rare Bird. Write them. Say, Gretchen Bonaduce said I should contact you. The head guy is Tyson. Write him. And he loves good books. you know, aside from mine, like I'm not going to go, because he's very cerebral. Like, I don't think he was like, this is a smart book. This is a book that everyone's going to go, we're going to learn. So I don't think he thought that at all. So I think it's like, you know what? I like her. She's cool. Her book's fine. Let's just put it out there and see what happens. That's really what I think would happen, honestly. In like, if I was a fly in the wall, that's what I think happened.
But yeah, I mean, because I think, and I think we're in such a great age for publishing too, just because there's just so many more options out there.
Yeah, but it's sad that a lot of people don't want to buy a book, you know, like trying to get people to go to a bookstore and purchase an actual book. I mean, that's why all the bookstores are going under. To do that.
Yeah, and you know, when it comes to the bookstores, I feel like there's going to become a revival for the indie bookstores, and I'm starting to see it on social media.
It's everything. I mean, look at albums. You know, albums were dead, and now albums are back, and now cassette tapes are back, and now 8-tracks are back. So everything does come back, but I don't know if it'll be enough. You know, like I don't know if there's enough of an indie crowd to research it enough, but I guess we'll see. You know, the world could end in the next week because who knows what's going to happen. You know,
and surviving Agent Orange,
and yeah, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. So, yeah, so who knows? But I would love to see a resurgence if the world doesn't end. They're doing. I mean, to me, I did cassette tapes. Do you know how annoying that is when you want to hear the song you want to hear, and you have to put the cassette in, you have to rewind it and try to find the spot for the song? Just it was super annoying. Like at least
hell yeah!
album, try to drop it on the line so the song would play. Yeah,
yeah, and like recording from the radio, I did that a lot.
Oh my God, we all did that. Yep, waiting for that song, and the second was on pushing play, record. So the cassette probably missed the first couple notes, you know, because you didn't get there in time. But yeah, we all did that.
Oh man, did you do that, Michele? I don't know.
Well, of course. I was just at the beginning of the CD era, but I definitely had my mixtape from the radio, but then I also had all of my CDs that I made with, you know, my various moods, you know, my getting ready CD, my breakup CD, my we're going to be together forever CD.
So you had a CD because we had mixtapes. We had the actual cassette tape, but you had the CDs. So you were able to like do that and send it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember the struggle of recording from the radio, but I didn't grow up with it. My very, very first CD were TLC and Boys to Men.
Ooh.
Wow. Yeah, so you have to be 10 to 15 years younger than I am because, yeah, those are people I don't really care about.
I remember CDs came out when I was in high school. I'm 30, gonna be 38 next month.
Oh my God, babies! I'm like so much older than you guys. No, I remember when I was in grammar school and even junior high, they had the cassette tape. You know, that big, huge cassette tape that you put into your car. And then, or wait, what was that called?
Was that the 8-track?
Yes, the 8-track. The 8-track. Yep. So when I was in like junior high, you had the 8-track. Then when I got to high school, it was the cassette tape. And then the CD thing came out, but, you know, that was so expensive. But yeah. And now it's back to album. Like everyone wants everything on an album. I have friends who own stores that all they sell is records. That's it. And everybody wants that now. And the sound, you can't duplicate it. Like I have record players and I just sit here and put the Beatles on and, you know, all these Bowie and all that, you know, I'm an 80s girl. Like I mean, that's why I sing in an 80s band because
I love the 80s. My husband and I love the 80s music.
so great. You know, The Cure, The Cult, Camouflage. There's just so many great bands.
Yes. We're going on the road trip, and it was funny because he was like, "Can you look up on Spotify to see if there's an '80s montage playlist? Because I'm gonna need that while I'm driving."
Well, do you have Sirius? Because they have First Wave with Richard Blade. It's it's the best. It's really good.
Don't have Sirius because I've got the because I have the Bluetooth connection for my car. So ever since I got that, it's been nothing but Amazon Music, Spotify, and Audible.
Yeah. And I know nothing. What I don't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. I know Sirius Satellite. They have 80s, First Wave, and 80s, and and then they have they have so much great stuff.
We used to have a Sirius,
and it's just so good. Yeah, it's better
for a while, and then we had a trial. We had a trial subscription, and for some reason, on my car, it lasted a whole year longer than it was supposed to. So I was taking a video.
You like totally snuck by them. They didn't know to cut off your satellite.
Yeah, I totally did, and I loved every minute of it. And I had the '80s channel on there, and
nothing beats the '80s. I'm sorry, Echo and the Bunnymen, The Cure, The Cult, Camouflage, just the most amazing, best music. Depeche Mode, like, sorry, you can't beat. Like now, everyone's in my opinion, expendable. Like. These are all these people that have one song that's good, and then you never hear from them again. It's everyone. Like I mean, there is, Foo Fighters, Muse. I'm trying to think. There's like a few big ones that I think will maintain forever, but I think mostly they won't. I just don't. I don't. You know.
I think there's some that are going to stand out and last forever. I think Foo Fighters is one of those ones that are going to last forever. Dave Grohl is going to go down.
He's awesome. Yeah, I just think he's amazing and wonderful, and he seems so great. Like everyone, I don't know him. I wish I did, but everyone I know that knows him is like, oh my God, he's just the nicest guy. He's so nice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My husband had a chance to meet him in at one of the LA book festivals.
Was he nice?
Oh, he was wonderful. He was down in the crowd interacting with everybody there. He was really personable and just all about the people there.
A genuine guy. Yeah. You know, I flew to London once to see Duran Duran. And I flew Virgin Atlantic, which is my favorite airline of all time. It's just great. Like when you take off, there's a bar in first class. Did you know that? So,
no.
Yeah. So as soon as you take off, you can go sit at the bar. And you could sit at the bar all the way to England. So from LA, that's 13 hours. And so I got on the plane, and guess who's standing at the door when I get on the plane? Richard Branson. Shaking everyone's hand, going, thank you for flying my airline. Oh my God, thank you for flying my airline. Then he was back in coach the whole flight, serving drinks the whole flight. Wow. Coach. Yeah. Virgin Atlantic's is the best airline. It just is. And so I go to my upper class seat, and which is very luxurious. Wait till we take off, go to the bar, and have some drinks. Then there were some ugly Americans on board who started a fight in upper class. I was so embarrassed.
I hate ugly Americans when I travel. They're the worst.
Yeah. No, when you sit at a bar and you're like kidding it off with people, and you just go, I just got to ask you, why do you hate Americans? And they're all like, well, you're all like super big mouth. You think we want to hear everything you have to say. And they're like, we don't. And I'm like, oh my God, I totally get it. I'm so embarrassed. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to be that guy. I'm just talking to you. I'm not like, hey, the whole bar needs to hear what I'm saying.
I will never forget, there was one time we were in Peru, and we're at one of these open air markets, and there are these two old women wearing neon colored clothing, which, by the way, if you travel anywhere overseas, do not wear neon colored clothing. Wear just mute colors.
You know what? Even no matter where you are, neon clothing is a bad choice. If you're here, you're in Peru, you're in Europe, just don't do it.
Don't wear them yet. Well, and then on top of that, they're trying to barter with the person, and they're being very obnoxious with their bartering. And my husband and I, we look at each other and we look at the stuff that's in our hands, and we're like, you know what? We don't need it this badly. We set our stuff down and go to the clear other side of the market because we're like, we don't want to be anywhere in their vicinity because they're just screaming. Yeah, and there's been 2 times when in our world travels where he and I have both been like, you know what? We're just going to say we're Canadian because the funny thing is, if you're not from New York or Chicago or New York or Texas, they don't know that you're American. They're like, are you American or are you Canadian? And
yeah, you know how much Canadians hate that? when a American is mistaken for Canadian, they don't like that.
Well, we did it, like there was one time.
And vice versa, when Canadians are mistaken for American, oh my God, watch out. Like,
we were in Fiji and
I want to go there.
Oh, it was such a cool trip. One of our
my jalapeno cashews while we talk.
No worries.
All right.
So two of our we met actually in Fiji, and we were in Fiji. We were watching this fish feeding thing, and this Aussie woman, she looks at us and she goes, "Oh, are you Canadian or are you American?" And we're like, "We're American," because at that point we weren't fully admitting that we were American because it was during the time of the election, and everybody was getting on our asses about Trump.
Yeah,
got tired of it, and so, but we admitted that we were American, and she was like, "Oh, I can never tell the difference between you two, you Canadians or Americans."
My God, Canadians would just slit their throat right now.
But it gets better because my husband looks at her deadpan and goes, "That's okay. We can never tell the difference between an Aussie and a Kiwi." And she got so mad. She was like, her face got red, and she was like, "Oh, no. I'm going to teach you right now the difference between us." And she was like, "A Kiwi sounds like they're doing a bad Aussie accent."
Wow. People just really are too serious. Like, life is so great. To me, nothing matters that much. Yeah. It just doesn't, like, to get mad about. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's things to fight for, but to still be nice about it. But anything like to be mean about, I just don't understand that.
Oh, yeah. Well, my husband and I, we just cracked up laughing at the whole thing. We thought it was the funniest thing. It's one of our favorite memories from that trip. But it was just so funny. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to life, it's all about those little fun things like sitting and listening to a podcast or reading or drinking wine with friends.
Well, the fact that we're all alive and healthy and our kids are healthy, what more can we ask for, honestly?
Yeah.
I am so grateful to be alive and to be healthy, and my kids are healthy, and what else can you ask for? Okay, maybe $1 billion. I might ask for $1 billion, but other than that, like, how can you complain? Like, life.
Are we going to get into that? Are we going to get into that Steve Martin bit? Yeah, maybe $1 billion. Oh wait, no. Happiness for children, the Christmas gift. Like, all I wish for Christmas is for peace on earth. Oh wait, no. I want a really long orgasm. No, wait. $1 million, a really long orgasm, and then peace on earth. And
he goes into this. Yeah, but that's funny. Yeah, but I mean, it is true. We all have one life, and that's just the truth. Are you going to waste it being depressed or being whatever? Like, you don't have another one, so make the most of it, and that's what I try to do. And even like the end of my book, I've been dying to take my child to see Hamilton, like dying. And LA, the prices were ridiculous.
Yes.
Like, for 2 tickets, it was going to cost me $1,200 for 2 tickets.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what I did? We flew to Chicago. It was cheaper for me to fly to Chicago and get 2 tickets for my son and I to see Hamilton, which is what we did. And it was just amazing. And the last chapter of my book is there's a song in the show called "Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story," and I was like, this is the thing I needed to hear, because this is exactly why I wrote my book. I don't want someone else to tell my story. I'm going to tell it. And yeah, but that musical is beyond. It's just so brilliant. And yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda's obviously a genius that he could come up with all of that. But my favorite of all time, Jesus Christ Superstar. Even over that, I love that musical. It's so good.
My favorite outside of Hamilton, because Hamilton just relit my love for musical theater.
Yeah, so great. So
my favorite, though, I have to say, is Les Mis.
You know what? What about Rent? Rent was really.
Oh my God, Rent is amazing. Well, I will sing Idina Menzel's lines all the time in my car.
It was
love
so good. The music was great. But I put Jesus Christ Superstar, Hamilton, and then Rent. I think I have to go with. How about you?
Me, it's Les Mis.
Okay.
Meet Me in St. Louis, because I've got some memories of my grandmother with that one.
Okay. That makes sense. I didn't.
Wizard of Oz, and then Hamilton is my fourth one.
Is that the one with the blonde Chenoweth?
That is Wicked.
I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz, original Wizard of Oz. And then for my fifth one, I'm not sure what I think Rent would have to be number 5.
That's so good.
How about you, Michele? What are yours?
Yeah, Michele, let's hear yours.
I haven't really seen very many. I've seen 40.
Or even on TV, on movies. Movies count too.
Well, wish list would be Wicked and Hamilton. Those are the two that I would.
Good choices. Really good, both of them.
Yep.
But Wizard of Oz.
What?
Wizard of Oz should be number 3.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
And I've seen Chicago off Broadway, which was amazing.
That's great. That's a good one. Yep, that's a good one too. But Hamilton is just beyond. But again, my heart is Jesus Christ Superstar, and then followed by Hamilton, and then followed by Rent. There's, it's just Broadway's amazing, and it's just brilliance, to see these people night after night be able to pull that off. It's not like a movie where you see it once. It's not like takes that when you're doing a movie, you can redo it. It's live every night. And if you suck that night, you suck, and everyone just saw it, It's a talent. Like, I would love to act. I really would. But I have panic attacks when I act. I did the vagina monologues recently. I did Hedda Gabler recently. Panic attacks both time. I'm like, you know what? I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do it. Like, I can't ruin a play because I'm like having a panic attack.
I remember so I've actually done a few plays in college, and I remember the first one I did where I actually had like real speaking lines. I was terrified.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, my character was supposed to be terrified.
Well, so it worked out great.
Yeah, it worked out great. I was shaking. I was so bad. I go off stage after my part. The director hugs me, and she goes, "I didn't expect you to be that good."
Wow.
Crap.
Yeah. Well, that's like Pamela Anderson and all these people. They're just playing themselves. Like, you can't go, "Oh, you're a great actress." You're like, "Oh, you're just playing yourself." So that makes sense. Yeah, but I want to be a good actress, but I don't think I'm confident enough to pull it off. I've tried.
I'm going with the acting thing because I was an extra once in a music video, and I got bored on set, and I have determined that that was when I determined that I'd rather be a writer than an actress, just because I want to be the one who tells the stories.
Yeah, that's good though. I mean, it's great when you find the thing you want to do, and that's great. All right, now I want to talk about the book that you two were going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
I have not read. So I want you two to discuss it, and then I will interject, probably, because I don't know anything, so it'll be stupid, but
That's okay. So the book that we're talking about is Another Side of Paradise. And this is the first book that I've seen come across that comes from the perspective of his mistress, Sheila.
Fuck
Now,
that bitch already.
well, I'm really fascinated by it. I love the 1920s. I love the Lost Generation.
Me too, but I don't like people that cheat on their husbands or wives.
But at the time, to play devil's advocate for Scott, Zelda, his relationship with Zelda was very toxic. They should have gotten divorced at this point in their relationship. She was in and out of mental hospitals at that point. He was living in California. She was living in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just...
But is that what you want to do, is abandon someone when they need you the most? I feel like maybe you should be obligated to take care of them.
Oh, well, I think that was one of those things where I don't think he could take care of her anymore. Because I think he was taking care of her for quite a while and she was trying to take care of him. But like we've read Z, the novel of Zelda Fitzgerald. And then we read another novel that deals with her in the mental hospital. What was the one that we read with her in the mental hospital?
Guests on Earth.
Yes. And their relationship together was like two suns just burning each other out. They were drawn to each other, but they just burned each other out. And I think at this point, this was towards the end of his life. And he was in LA trying to write. And when she came in, I think this was the first stable person that he was around. Really.
Yeah, but I still always feel like if you aren't in love with the person that you're with, and you should go. Like, I don't think making a choice for someone else is fair. You mean, because I'm coming from experience. And like, you know what? If you wanted to fuck her, then go. Fine, go. Like, don't make that choice for me, And so I just feel like it's the coward's way out totally when you're a person that wants to have your cake and eat it too. And that's the way I just feel. Like if you don't love someone, or even if you love them, but you want to have sex with someone else, that's not fair to your partner that you're making that choice. So he should have left and then it would have been fine with me. But anyone who does things behind someone's back, it's just not okay with me. It's not cool.
Yeah. And, I think, she knew about this, didn't she?
Did Sheila knew that he was married, or?
No, Zelda knew that he was, yeah.
I'm not sure. I haven't gotten to any part where they acknowledge, but I'm pretty sure she knew. And Sheila definitely knew that he was married. But
see, that's, to me, that's just not okay. You know what? If you're a person and you're married and you're not happy and you want to be with someone else, just say, this is over.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I think I can agree with that very much, very wholeheartedly. I like open relationships rarely ever work. And I mean, my husband and I, we spent he was in the military too. So we spent a good deal of our marriage apart. Or I can't say a good deal at this point, but we spent 4.5, almost 5 years apart from each other when it's all combined. But I mean, we both had the agreement we're going to be faithful. You cheat on me, that's it. We knew enough about the law to know that we would be.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. That's like the 10 Commandments. Don't, thou shalt not commit adultery. And if you want to do that, then fine. But tell your partner that this is what is happening and go. And
I think it's a very modern, I think in this era, in today's society, I think that is the right thing to do. And I think that is the way it should be done in general. Because in today's society, you can have the divorce, because I feel that marriage isn't all just about those love, warm, squishy feelings, because those
I'm not getting married again. I'll never get married again. Because when it goes bad, it goes so bad. Like, why would I put myself through that again?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't blame you for that. And I think that, but I think looking at the time period, that's one of the things with historical fiction is that we can't put our modern perspective into the history of it because this was in the 1920s.
Yeah, because that's like hashtag me too. When people want to apply this standard to 1920s, 1950s, it's like, well, that wasn't the standard then. So it's not really fair to apply that standard.
Yeah, to get a divorce back then was just unheard of. It had to be really, really bad situation. And then it was very frowned upon. What was it? The Astor Club.
And people, you know, and your children, like it wasn't something people did. They would just stay together. The husband would do what he's going to do. And I'm sure the wife on occasion, but I think more men cheated back then than I just do.
Oh, I think in general, more men cheated. Just in general.
I think just do. Like, I don't know if that sounds shitty to say, but I think men cheat way more than women do. I think we're just conditioned to be more just to the person that you love, you're more loyal. And I just feel that way. And I could be totally wrong, like I could, but I feel like men definitely, and especially back then, cheated way more than women. Like, you just didn't really do that.
I fully agree.
Do you agree?
I agree. What about you, Michele? Do you agree? What are your thoughts?
I was asking Michele, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm sure back then, I mean, even every period drama you see, it's always the guy cheating. But I mean, as far as the book, I do feel it's an interesting story to hear it from essentially the mistress's point of view. But I mean, at the same time, like, I'm really interested to hear her side of it because that's probably a story that no one's ever heard. That, you know, how she was feeling. Even at the very beginning of the book, she's talking about, I think she said, you know, he's married to poor Zelda. So she knew that, you know, Zelda was sick, but did she say poor Zelda because she felt sorry for her and felt bad for her, the part in whatever pain she was causing her? Or was she saying poor Zelda because she really feels sorry for Scott that he has to deal with a wife who's mentally ill?
Yeah.
You know, because at that time, I mean, what was Zelda? She was manic depressive or bipolar, or I forget what she had.
I think it was, I think manic depressive and bipolar, I think, are the same thing.
Well, I feel like that is a terrible thing for anyone to have to deal with, but I still feel like divorce her then. Don't put her through that. You know, that's the way I always feel. Whatever someone's issues are, and it's an issue for you, then divorce that person so you can do what you do, and you're not going to put them through the horrible thing of cheating, and now they find out, and if someone's mentally ill, you don't think that's going to make them worse, you know? Like, I just don't think that's a choice you make for someone that has issues.
Absolutely. And I think if it was 2017, I totally think they would have gotten divorced. If it was modern day, they would have gotten divorced, and they would have been that divorced couple who remained friends afterwards. I totally think that would have been their situation. But we've got to remember it was 1920s, so they didn't get divorced. Divorce wasn't an option for people.
And also mental illness at that time wasn't it's a taboo subject. You just send them away and you don't talk about it. And it's a burden to whoever has to deal with you.
And taboo subject. It's still a taboo subject. I mean, talking about
but in the was 30s, it was, I mean, even more so. It was, you don't talk about it, and poor whoever has to pay for you to get the care that you need. Because
now I would like to add a caveat though to our 1920s discussion of divorce. Divorce was unacceptable unless you were Ernest Hemingway. Then you could get divorced. He got divorced like what, 3-4 times?
I think so.
I think he led the way for divorce. He was one of the forefront runners. Yeah. Yeah, because he had, see, there was 1, 2, 3, 4. He had 4 wives. So yeah, he got divorced 3 times. So yeah, I mean, he was a forefront of, you know.
I do think men could get away with it a lot more than women could. Like, women getting divorced 4 times would have been, in that time period, I don't know that you could survive that socially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at that time that would have been, you would have been a joke.
And, you know, we don't really think about the social impacts back then like we do today. Like today, you know, oh, you get a bad rap on social media for something that you did. It'll go away, and give it 15 minutes, it'll go away.
Yeah, because it's true. Like, I always think that you might be on the cover of Star Magazine today, but next week someone else is going to be. So don't worry. You have 7 days of a bad time, and then next week someone else is going to have the bad time. So just write it out. And that's the truth.
Yeah. And back then you didn't have that. It stuck around longer. Your social circles were so much more impactful for your well-being and for your ability to be able to earn a living.
Yep.
So if you were a social pariah, you were a social pariah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, earn a living. Women didn't even work back then, so they needed a husband to take care of them. And if they were outcasts, they were screwed, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, the MRS degree that people were going for, you know, during that time period, which is what they were doing. They were all going to college so they could get married. And that's what it was called, the MRS degree, the Mrs. degree. And yeah, I mean, it's just true that at that time period, that was everyone's slant was, you know, we're going to do this because like Jackie O, and look at everyone, you know, you were all going to find a great husband and solidify your social status. And yeah, so, and trying to deal with a mentally ill person at that point in time must have been really difficult, you know. Like, I wouldn't say he didn't have his rights to want to divorce her, and you know, people didn't have the compassion they do now. Like, I think now with mental illness, there's a lot of people that would write it out because they would feel bad, like, I'm abandoning you. And yeah, I don't think a lot of people would do that now.
We've come a long way when it comes to mental illness. We've come to a point where we're able to treat the brain like an actual organ. You know, if you got an ulcer or you've got something wrong with your liver, you're going to go to the doctor and you're going to get medicine.
Yeah.
We should treat the brain the same way.
Right.
You know, it's another organ of the body. If there is something wrong with it, we should go to the doctor and we should get medicine and we should treat it. Or even not necessarily medicine, just talk it out, work it out. I'm a big believer in therapy. And I think, yeah, and like Michele said, back then we just didn't have that capacity to be able to think of it that way.
Yep, I agree. I think she's right. No, not at all. I think people just did the best they could, and but anyone that had something weird, you just ended up in an institution, you know. There wasn't a lot of sympathy and therapy and helping people get along.
Absolutely.
And I think it's interesting. I mean, so far I've only read maybe 4 chapters, 4 or 5, but I think it's interesting that Sheila, as the mistress, I mean, she obviously didn't get the same reputation that a mistress today would get. I mean, she was accepted. I mean, the book opens at his death, you know, him having the heart attack in her apartment and dying. So he dies with her. But she's accepted in his circle of friends, and she's one of them, and everyone knows that she's his girl. And today, I mean, the mistress, I mean, she wouldn't be accepted, socially accepted the way that.
Although I feel like people are way more now conditioned to accept that. You know, like for me, if some guy put me in that situation, like if we were out and I knew his wife and we were somewhere and he had a girlfriend and he was like, just pretend you don't, I'd be like, no, I can't do that. Like I would not be able to be nice to a person when I knew someone else was married to them. I don't know. What about you guys? Like that's just the most horrible situation to be in.
Yeah, funny story. So, going back to Diana's backstory, I actually had a boyfriend who did cheat on me. And it was a very toxic relationship. We were together for about a year, maybe a little over a year. And he had cheated on me and I didn't want to believe it. And my parents even knew. I remember my dad was like, he's cheating on you, honey. You need to leave him. And I was like, no, he's not. And then I finally came to the realization that yes, he is. And, you know, I left him, had my whole rebound fun stuff, met my husband. My husband was actually in a relationship when I met him. And I was like, I really like you. I would love to date you. But I will not date you until this girl goes. I'm not going to play this game. We're not going to have this happen. Mm-hmm. And that relationship was coming to an end anyway. So he was like, okay. 2 weeks later, we had our first official date. And we've been together ever since. So it was one of those situations where, yeah, I wouldn't put up with it. I wouldn't deal with it. I've come to the point in my life where I've realized I'm too much of a monogamist.
Oh, I know I am. Yeah. Like I don't even want to have an inappropriate conversation with a guy, let alone cheat, you know, like I don't want to be that guy. I would like to be a person that people know. I don't need to worry about her. Like, you know, whatever she says, wherever she is, she has the integrity that she would, you know, back me. And no matter what guy comes up and wants to talk to her, it won't matter, you know. I always want to be.
Yeah, when my husband was deployed, he did overseas contracting after he got out of the Army. And he was gone for about 2.5 years. And after the second full year of him being gone, I was like, okay, babe, we are good financial position. I need you to come home now. And I told him one of the reasons was because I was getting too used to feeling like a single person. And I would get weirded out when I was in a place like I used to go to Renaissance fairs a lot. And
I love them. Oh my God, it's so much fun.
My husband and I met at a Renaissance fair.
I don't doubt that that's true and the most amazing story because the Renaissance fair is magical.
There we got engaged there. We thought about possibly having our wedding there, but we decided to do something else for the wedding. But I kind of got turned off a little bit because I wasn't comfortable with guys hitting on me as much because they hit on you a lot at the fair. And, you know, you can play it off. You know, my husband's right around the corner. I joke around, play it off. But when I was on my own, I didn't have that. And I didn't feel comfortable. So I got turned off by it a lot. And so now I go maybe once a year. And, you know, I really wasn't comfortable with the idea of people hitting on me when he wasn't around. And so, yeah. I'm babbling because I am about half a bottle of wine in and I forgot where we were at.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, but I get you. Like I'm the same. You know, I'm just such a serial monogamist. Like I don't need some guy. I don't need that when I go out. If I don't need that. You know, if I'm with someone, that's all I need. Like, I don't need anyone else to say anything. So I totally get what you're saying.
Well, I would totally love to keep listening and chatting, but it's like almost midnight here and I'm about to pass out because I wake up at 4:30.
Oh my gosh. Well, we need to let you go to bed.
If I should have had Diana start the podcast because then you guys could keep going without me.
No, you know what? We needed you, but yeah, I know it's like your time, so And I'm getting tired too, and I'm sure you are. And I have to let my dogs out. So you
Yeah, and like I said, I'm
the
halfway
right
through my
thing
bottle
at the
of
right
wine.
time. That's what we need to do.
Yes. It was wonderful having you. It was so great talking with you.
So
And
much fun. Oh my gosh, you girls, I love what you're doing. And you know what? I have a friend that I want to refer to.
okay.
Do you know who Bobby Brown is?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you like to interview her?
Yes.
All right. I will like hook you guys up. She's like a really good friend of mine, and I was just thinking she would love to do this. She doesn't drink as much as we do, so
It's okay. We can
she's a
totally
lightweight. She might not have more drinks than we're having, but yeah. And you know what? I just think you girls are awesome, and I will like. I have so many great friends. Like, I'm gonna like think who can I send your way. But yeah, Bobby. I'll ask her if she wants to do it. Cherie Curry is one of my closest friends. She's a book. Neon Angel, like I'll like try to like hook you in with some of my friends and do this because it's fun. Like it's so fun to be drinking with you guys. And,
Yeah, this is one of our favorite things. We love to, I mean, before, long before, when Michele and I were first friends, I think what we bonded over was books and wine. And we would get together and we would watch Real Housewives of New York and New Jersey because my hometown is in New York.
Yeah.
And we would
I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah. So we always had that playful debate. But we'd rarely watch the episode in full because we would just end up just drinking wine, eating massive amounts of Chinese food, and just drinking and talking about books. That's all we did.
Well, her book, Bobby's book sold 50,000. Not sure what Cherie's book sold, but I'm sure it's a lot. But yeah, I'll try to hook you guys up and see, you know, my friends to try to get you on with them. And so much fun. Thank you guys. It was really a lot of fun. Like I feel like you're my girlfriends. Like we're just having fun. Like what are you doing?
We'll have to get together.
You're drinking. What are you
now.
doing?
Well, next time you come out to Chicago, you have to let me know.
Oh, I am. I'm coming there. I leave Sunday. I'm coming to Chicago.
Oh, really?
Exciting. Yep. September 11th in Wicker Park. I have a book signing.
Oh my gosh, I have to come down.
Oh my God, please come down. September 11th, 7 to 9. I'm there. At I think it's called Volumes. Oh wait, I'll look. Let me see. I am at Volumes. Yep, Volumes Bookstore in Wicker Park. 7 to 9, I think. So yeah, come say hi.
Be there. I'll come down.
God, I would love it. It would be so much fun. Yeah, but I'm doing like amazing book signings like all over. I can't believe it. Like I can't.
Yeah, send me. You have a link to the a website with a schedule of your book signings.
Yeah, on Surviving Agent Orange on Facebook. I have everything.
Okay, I'll share the link with our listeners. And put it in our show notes.
Okay. All right, you girls. So much fun. Thank you for having me. I know we were supposed to do what, an hour, like 20 minutes. Like here we are, like
yeah,
what, 2 hours.
Our show is typically an hour, so we were here for close to 2 hours. So
fun. All right, you guys have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.